Okay, welcome to day 3 session for Selenium WebDriver. In previous sessions, we understood how to launch a browser, and we explored some of the methods given by the WebDriver to invoke a browser to navigate to an URL, right? To get the page title, and we also saw how to get the page source. And we also understood the WebDriver is basically an interface, and we have a different classes specific to the browsers who are implementing these interfaces, right? Like a Chrome driver is a separate class, Firefox is a separate class, Internet Explorer is a separate class who are implementing this interface. And whenever we want to consume those methods, we create an object for these classes, Chrome driver or Firefox, and then we consume the methods from them, right? Now, all the methods given by this interface, WebDriver interface, are falls into these three major categories. Okay, there are some methods which you will see which are kind of a to control the browser, right? Like for example, .get is the method to fetch the URL, right? And then we will also learn about navigate dot back, not navigate dot front, and then we will reload, and all this we will see. There will be some more methods which are specifically around browser. Okay, so those are the first category. Second major category and a very important category is a selection of web elements. Okay, those are specifically created to identify the elements or to perform different actions on the web elements, right? And there are third set of methods which are basically for the debugging or for our programming skills, right? So those are the three broad categories under which we will learn a different methods. Again, there are numerous methods in WebDriver. Okay, the best technique is not to learn them but to explore them with the official documentation and the way I'm going to teach you. Like, you no need to by heart everything. You should know the correct way to explore, so that whenever there is a challenge, you know the resources to try with, right? So what you should do is you should go with okay, let me open new window. Go to the official document of WebDriver. So how you will just go Selenium official documentation. Now here in the Selenium official documentation under Java, right, you will see a lot of information. So just go to WebDriver. Not here. Let me go to selenium.dev. Selenium.dev, and then down under documentation, we have WebDriver. WebDriver API.
Is there a PDF document or something? Or?
No, there will be a list of APIs, WebDriver API. Just a minute, let me check. Selenium WebDriver. API Java. Okay, yeah, this is the one. Selenium docs API Java. Okay. Now this looks like a little bit difficult, but this is the perfect way to build your understanding, because there are a lot of things in the WebDriver. The important things I'll cover, but the rest of the things you need to explore. Okay. So what you should do first thing is go to WebDriver class, because from that's where we are starting, right? So just scroll down, look for a WebDriver interface. You will find somewhere else in the W. Scroll down, down. Okay, WebDriver. Click on a WebDriver. Now this is an interface WebDriver, right? Now all known implementing classes. We know we are using Chrome driver, right? This is one class. Edge driver. See, event firing WebDriver, Firefox driver, Internet Explorer, Opera, Remote, Safari. So you can see all these different classes who are implementing whom WebDriver interface, right? Now the next thing we are trying to understand is the different methods. So here, if you see in this in this documentation, you will also see all the different methods which we're gonna learn. Okay, so what we were learning, if you remember yesterday, we were learning this dot get, right? So dot get, what it returns? It returns void. It doesn't return anything basically, right? You click on the get, you will see more information. Load the new web page, and the parameter it accepts is URL, right? This is the documentation for that. Similarly, get current URL. What it does, get the string representing the current URL of the. So similarly, you should refer to this documentation, okay, as much as possible, and you use the API Java documentation, because you will have Python, Ruby, and all other languages documentation in a separate pages. Okay, so so these are the some high level set of methods we're gonna learn today, or we're gonna just try to use them. Dot get, dot close. Close is basically closes the current browser which is invoked by the driver, and there is also a method called dot quit. So what is dot quit? It closes all the browser instances opened by the driver. Okay. So for example, if you navigate to a specific page, and in that page you will find something like click here, right? Or forget password link. And if you click on that forget password link, it will open a new tab next to the original page. So now you have two different window instances, right? So if you want to close all of them, then you have to use dot quit. But if you use dot close, only the current session, the current window will get closed, right? We will see those examples. The dot current URL, the current URL will give you whatever the driver is currently on that page, that current URL it will take. And the rest of the methods, I will not go by theory here, but let's go and try to use them quickly. So yesterday, I think we were doing till current URL, right? We also saw get page source. Yeah, I just commented that because it gives a lot of weird source, yeah, right? So that's the reason I commented it. Now the next is window handle, dot get window handle. So I know we haven't learned about the window handles so far, but just for time being, you just understand that there is something called as window handle which we will need. Okay, switch to, and basically jumping from one window to, let's say, fifth window. You know, when you're working with multiple tabs, 1 2 3 4 5 6, how you identify them is with the window handles. Okay, and we will learn them in an upcoming session, but yes, you need to say that this is something called as window handle. We will see how it looks like. Now there is let's see some more. Why I'm using this to print? Because all these methods return me something, right? They return what? They return string. How I'll come to know that? Again, with the documentation, right? Here if you see dot string, which means it returns string, right? So here you see void, it doesn't return you anything. Here basically it in every method description, it will tell you what it returns. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is dot navigate okay, so let me do driver dot navigate. Now why I'm using a navigate dot. So if you use dot navigate, so basically navigate, consider it as it stores the session of your browser, and it helps you to perform some actions like go forward, go backward, something like this. You know, all these clicks. If you use if you want to use this kind of operations, you can use dot navigate, and then if you use dot navigate and just give a dot, you will see a lot of things. See, we have a back, we have forward, right? And there are a refresh also. So let's try refresh, right? So I will say refresh, and then here let's say refresh the current page. Here get window handle. Window handle will look very weird, so don't be worried.
Yeah,
Don't get a.
I tried it already.
Oh,
It was weird.
yeah.
And then I
Okay, that's great.
okay,
That's
there's gonna be more.
yeah.
And then I just
Forward. Okay, yeah, that's good. And then we'll try backward. So let's say for forward, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say driver dot navigate, right? And then dot, let's say back. Okay. So what we're gonna do, whenever I'm launching this page, once I launch this page, after getting a window handle, we will go to some other page. Okay. So let's say change the URL. Now here, how we will change driver dot navigate dot. So here there is one more. Okay. So here let's see this, what it does. Okay. Navigate dot to, and then here what I'll try to do. Let's see. Even I'm not aware. Let's assume that what it does. We don't know. So I'm saying this is how you have to explore. You have to see how it does. Okay. So I'm saying navigate dot to. Let's see what it does. Then I'm saying okay, refresh. Then I'm saying dot back. So if this works the way I'm expecting, sorry, dot forward. No, let's use this is backward, right? And then here maybe we can use forward, right? So how I'll do driver dot navigate dot forward, right? That's it. So let's see how does it work right now. And then we will see some more methods. If you are getting an exceptions, we will try to understand from those exceptions also. Okay, so it launched the browser, it's loading it. Okay, it is still loading it. Okay, so see now everything has been done so fast. See this? Have you observed?
Yeah, so fast.
Right. So I think we should be printing the we will be printing some print statement. So CISO control space for shortcut, and then here I'll say navigating to another website, right? So let's say Selenium API documentation, right? And then here we will see I'm saying CISO control space, here I'll say refreshing the current page, right? And then here I'll say we will add a statement, say navigating back, and then here we will say oops, sorry, navigating forward, right? And now let's run it again. Okay, this is the new instance. So parallelly we can also see the prints console, here you can see navigating to another website. Let's see side by side. See, refreshing the current page, navigating back, navigating forward, it's doing so fast, right? I'll see. And now what we're gonna do here is let me add some more thing. So Now what we will try here is driver dot close. If you carefully observe, then for every execution it is opening the new instance, right? New instance of a browser. And this is not a good practice, because when you are running an automation for a long time, it will keep on invoking a lot of browsers, and it will unnecessarily add a lot of burden on your servers, right? So you should be closing it or you should be quitting it. So there is a difference between close and quit. Okay, so let's first see the close, and then I'll talk about quit. The only difference here is, so close will close the current session, right? The current browser or current browser window, I would say. And
you actually opened already, they will close the last one you just opened.
yes, and then we have dot quit. So dot quit, what it will do, driver. So now here, if you see, we will see if there is a exception or is there any error we get. Okay, so I'm saying driver dot quit. So quit all the instances driver has opened. So sometimes, there will be link on your browser. If you click that link, it will open on another tab, right? So I don't know whether I have something on this page. So I think everything opens on the same page, but anyway, we will learn that method also. So let me close this and let's run this once again. Now let me run it. It will launch a new browser. You can see this. I'll just minimize so that we can see the console as well. Okay, so you can see it is loading the first browser, right? Navigating, so window handle is printed, refreshing the current page, navigating back, navigating forward, and see it has closed. If you observed, this was this was not opened by us. Okay, let me minimize this. Right, so it has so what one more thing we will try is, let's say when we were navigating to another page, right, another URL, we will try to capture the window handle once again, and we will see if they both are same, just for the sake of our understanding, right? So what I will do here is, and what the window handle is giving you, window handle is giving a string, right? Do you agree?
Yeah.
So here what I'll show is a string handle, or let's say window handle and handle 01 equal to like this, because it gives me string, right? So I'll store it in this parameter, and rather than printing it here, I'll append my string parameter. So I'm saying, okay, window handle 1. Now let's copy this exact same thing. After we do all these things, before we close, here we will again try to print the window handle, but this time we will store it in 02, right? And then what we will do here is, if, just by using a if, let's say I'm just trying to
change that 02
yeah, so second one is window handle 02, right?
Yeah, on the print.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. So window handle 02. Now here, this is the string, so string has a method dot equals, right? Indo has a dot equals and equal ignore case. So let's use dot equal ignore case, and with whom we gonna compare? Window handle 01, right? And then if they are same, I just wanna print that great, both window handles are same. Else I will say, sorry, window handles are not same. Okay, okay, let's run this. Now let me close all the instances, open instances, and let's minimize this and run this. Let me open the console so that we follow this. Click on this to clear the console, and then run the program. Launching the browser, navigating to another website, refreshing the current page, navigating back, navigating forward. See how fast. And what it printed? Yeah, it print. And the window handles are same, right? What does it mean? It means when you are navigating in the same session from one website to another website, that doesn't affect your handle, right? Unless and until you are working in the same session or in the same browser, right? So in the current session, the window handle still remains same. If you go to some other website, if you come back, doesn't matter, right? So that's something at this stage you should know. We will learn more about the window handles in an upcoming sessions. Okay. now let's say there is now the next thing, so far so good, right? The browser, there will be a lot, but you need to explore them using the WebDriver documentation, but these are sufficient, you know. These are the most regularly used methods which you will need while working with your automation. Now the next topic I have for you is understanding the basic HTML. Now why this is important? Understanding basic HTML is important. I can teach you automation without this as well, but I do not prefer, because I strongly believe in starting from basics, right? Before we understand about locating the elements on the web pages, right? Before even I start talking about ID, name, class name, link text, path, and all the different kind of elements and attributes and IDs and locators and all that kind of thing, let's try to understand first how any web page looks like and what is the underlying technology to display that web page on the browser, right? That is important. So for a time being, let's assume that browser is just our friend who translates some complex messages given to him by some servers, and he displays us in a simple format which is understandable by us, right? Now, do you think browser generate all these things on its own? Browser doesn't generate all the things what he's displaying. Browser is just a client. The reason we call him client is because browser is just, let's consider this is a browser is just a mediator, right? We request him that, hey, can you load me a google.com? The browser will hit that request to the Google server. It will ask the Google servers that, hey, there is some user at so and so IP is trying to look into this particular page. Google server will respond him back with lot of information. Some information from that is HTML, because the HTML is something which is displayed on the browser, right? There are web services also, but we do not see the web services, right? So that's why whenever you are dealing with a web service, you don't have any UI, because there is no UI involved in a web services, correct? But in the UI pages, what will happen? The server will respond back to the browser saying like, hey, okay, just display this information to your user, and that browser will load that information, but nothing but load that HTML which he has received from the server, and then we are from the front end we're gonna see that information, right? If you go back to yesterday's session, we were discussing what get page source, right? That page source is nothing but an HTML, the complete HTML which is given by the server to the browser, and browser is displaying that HTML to us, right? And the way you interact that HTML, the browser will send again the request to the server. Based on your request, server will again respond back the different page source, the different set of HTML, and then again different things will be displayed on the browser, and the cycle goes on and goes on, right? Now today what I want you to understand here is, again I'll repeat the same thing what I was always doing. HTML is to display the data, XML is to carry the data, right? Just remember that line. Now we're gonna write our own HTML just to make ourselves familiarize with the basic HTML tags. Okay, so rather than writing everything, this is a simple syntax. I already pasted it here. HTML is the main tag. In that we have head and body. Okay, I think I didn't add head here, but yes, there will be head and then there will be a body. Okay, so head tag will be there and a body tag will be there. These are the two main tags. And then inside a body you will have different tag. Every tag defines how that particular information should be displayed to an end user, right? Every tag will define how that particular information is displayed to an end user. Basically these are the wrappers. Like you have chocolate is wrapped in a particular wrapper, right? Based on the wrapper color you understand what type of chocolate it may be, right? In childhood days we know that if it's a orange color wrapper, that must be an orange candy, right? If it's a dark chocolate, then of course it will have something, dark chocolate related wrapper. So these tags, just in a simple language I would say, are treat them as a wrappers, right? So these tags, opening tag and closing tag, will define the information inside them, how it has to be displayed. Okay, that is first thing. Second thing, there may be multiple tags in an HTML of a same type. So for example, if I have an input tag, right, I can have hundreds of input tags on my page, right, where I enter the information. Are you getting this?
Yeah, I'm following.
Now how do I distinguish them? If I have hundreds of tag on my page, if I have hundreds of input elements on my page, how do I distinguish them? There has to be some mechanism, right?
Yeah.
So what developers generally do, they assign something called as attributes. Attributes are like an identifiers, let's say, right? They assign some attributes to them, based on which they will able to identify those elements. Now those attributes are like ID, those attributes are like name, those attributes will be like class name, and so on. There are a lot of attributes, okay? And every attribute will have something called as value. So this is an attribute, this is a value. To give an example, assume this entire earth is an HTML page, one browser, one page, okay? Now there are so many people on this earth. If someone wants to locate me, right, what I will tell them, okay, first you come on earth, then you find where is the United States, then after you find the United States, come to California, come to San Francisco, come on this road, this is the building, this is the apartment, and then there is, you will find me. Now even if they follow all this information, once they come to me, what if there are two Saurabh in a same apartment, in a same room, in a same house? Now I need some more extra information to identify that Saurabh correctly, right?
Yeah,
So I will say, okay, my height is this, my hairs are of black color, or my eye colors are whatever. I'll give some more information which will help that person to identify me correctly, right? So assume that extra information, whatever I'm giving, my height is attribute, whatever the height value, 6 feet, that is the value of an attribute, right? Just on that high level. So let's go back to any of the web page. Where is the web page? Or did we already close it? Okay. So now if I'm going to selenium.web, now what I'll do, so all this information on your web page is returned by a Selenium server to the Chrome, and that's why he's displaying us, right? If I right click and do page source, now you will see an entire HTML. If you see from here, the HTML started, it has a head tag, and if you scroll down, there is a lot of HTML, right, along with the JavaScript, but ultimately the entire information is wrapped into the HTML head and body tags, right? Now each of this information on the page is specific element or object, web object or element, whatever you call, okay? Now if I want to know what is, let's say, this text box, just right click on it and say inspect. So it will highlight the underlying HTML or underlying tag for that particular element where it went. Anyway, it's a big page, so maybe it has gone somewhere else.
That's the one that's highlighted.
Yeah, it is the highlighted tag, but yeah, yes, it is the tag, right? So this is the input tag. If you remember, that's what I was discussing in my example. Now this input tag, if I carefully observe only this input tag, you will find that this input tag, if some developer want to just add the input tag, input field, he can simply add the input tag and boom, he can add the input box on the HTML. Why he need to add so many details, right? These so many details he is adding because he want to control that particular input text maybe in some fashion, or you want to identify that input text in some fashion, right? And that's why all of these are basically attribute values. So if you see, it has a class. So this is a attribute and the value is GSC input. Name is the attribute, value is search. Title is the attribute, value is, then you have an ID and so on, right? So there are so many attribute values given to this input field, and similarly you will find it for a lot of other fields or a lot of other elements as well. So whenever you want to understand over this button, so right click on this button and inspect path. Now the modern browsers give you this flexibility. Like some years back, this was not the case. There was some different tools we used to use to do all these things, but now you have a uh, very good mechanism in the modern browsers which gives you this information readily available. Now if you see, this is the div and it has a class information, this has a class name, right?
Yeah.
And then inside this you will have one more element and so on. So now what we're gonna do, or what we're gonna learn today is, whenever we want to perform an action on any of these element, first thing what we need to do, we need to identify them, right? And then we have to perform an action on it, correct? So that's the reason Selenium has given us this 8 broad categories or 8 broad locator techniques with which we will able to identify the elements on the web pages. Okay, we need to learn all of them, and wherever is applicable, we have to use that particular locator mechanism. So Selenium locators are used to identify a web element on a web page. There are 8 locators defined in Selenium API, right? There may be some more coming in future if needed, okay? But these are the currently available locators. Now let's start with ID. So let's go and try to understand how does it work, how the element detection works. So element detection works in a very simple way in Selenium WebDriver. This is the syntax. So you have to use find element method given by the WebDriver. Okay, in the find element method, by dot you have to define what locator mechanism you want to use, and then dot action perform on it. Are you good?
Yeah.
So by dot, so this locator mechanism can be any one of this, right? It can be ID, it can be name, it can be tag name, class name, and so on. We will learn all of them step by step. But you need to understand that whenever you want to locate any element on a web page, you're gonna use which method? Find element, right? And then by dot, you have to define which locator technique, which locator mechanism. Now based on the locator mechanism you select, you may need to pass extra information like its exact location, exact class name, exact ID, or whatever it is, correct? And then dot action. Now what action? Again, based on the type of element you are dealing, you will perform that particular action. Now let's go and do some experiment around the locator mechanism. So let's go back. Okay, so here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna comment some part of it. So navigate.to is also doing the same thing, right? So I will comment this. I will comment refresh, and then I will comment all of them because now we don't need to ideally look into all of them. Select all of them together, control /, it will comment everything. Yeah, this also I don't need, so I'll comment this one as well. Uncomment, again do the same thing. Okay, so I'm on which page? I'm on the Ministry of Automation contact us page, right? Now let's go here. Let me go to, so let's go to Facebook, not Facebook, let's say Twitter. So let's say on a twitter.com. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna navigate to twitter.com. So I'll come here. So I'm saying driver.get twitter.com, and then let's say the moment I come here, I wanna say that I want to enter something in this particular field. So right click and say inspect. Let's see. This is a one way you can do it, or you can go to options and then go to more tools, and then go to developer tools. Okay, click on developer tools. Now the moment you click on developer tools, you will see something like this. You need to select this particular icon, which is select element. Select that element, highlight the element where you are trying to identify or where you are intended to perform an action, right? And then click on that. So it's going to highlight the HTML responsible to display that field on your browser, right?
Yeah.
Now
it takes you to the same place regardless, right?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So you have a big source out from that, it will identify only the intended area which you clicked or which you tried to inspect, right? Now here we are trying to learn the first locator, which is ID, right? What happened? Okay, I think I did something wrong. Let me right click to inspect. What's happening? Okay, refresh.
Did you want to open another browser?
I don't know. What's it's not highlighting that, which is weird.
You want to try the other option, like that one? So click on options. You went to the
more tools, developer tools, elements. Oh, well, the top element disappeared, right? I don't see them. I don't know why. Okay, now here it is. So this is the element. Click on it. Okay, this it's highlighting. So now I can expand it just because I want to see that particular which is under this. Okay, I think this is because of the size of it. Okay, anyway, so this is the this is the highlighted input tag, right? So what I'll do, I'll double click on this complete input tag, or right click on this, just because I want to I'm not able to see this correctly. So what I'll do, right click, edit at HTML. I'll copy this complete. Okay, I'll copy this complete, and I'll come back here and I'll paste it here. I know this doesn't look good, but unfortunately we are just interested to find out, is there any ID for this particular input, right? So auto capital, this is attribute, none is a value of it. Now let's scroll right, and we will see if we get something useful which we can use, right? So far I don't see anything. Nothing. No, I don't see any information which we can use, at least whatever we are learning as of now, right? I don't see any of those information is available. So let's see. Okay, this is not of my use, so let's try to use something else. So what is that? Let's go to some other page. Let's see, Salesforce.
The login button. The login button.
Okay, click on login. I'll go here. I don't think we have an ID, do we? No, there is no ID. Nope.
How about your site?
Let's see. I don't think I have anything. Let me see. I don't have any text field. That's the problem. Yeah, but Salesforce.com. Okay, let's see if we can get any. This also doesn't have. I need to find an example so that I can anything which has an ID. Generally there will be an ID all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to what's gmail.com. Okay, this is not allowed. Amazon.com. Okay, let's check this search box, right click and say inspect. Okay, yeah, here you can see the ID, right?
Yeah.
So value ID, let me. Okay, so what we can try here is this particular ID, right? So this particular ID, this particular ID looks like is given for that particular input text, right? So let's assume that if we want to identify or perform an action on that particular input, so what we will do, we'll copy this ID. Let's see if this works. Okay, so then there are a lot of other attributes also. You have a class attribute, then you have a name attribute, right? And there are a lot of other things, but let's try with the ID if it works. Now come here. Now here, before I go to Twitter. I'll have to come to Amazon.com. So here we're gonna change it to Amazon.com, and then what I'm gonna do, driver dot, what is the function, what is the method we're gonna use? Find element, right? So find element, and then we have by dot, you have to choose which locator technique or which locator mechanism are you interested. We are interested in ID, right? So you can see there are different you can see in this drop down, right? So let's say ID, and in this ID you have to give the text input, the string input, whatever ID. So let's say I'm giving this ID. So let's say this will identify, then dot, what I need to do, I need to enter some information, right? The action on that particular element. What action I want to perform? I want to enter some text, correct? So for that we have called as send keys. Okay, so send keys is the method which will enter the information or which will type the information on that text box. Now let's say I'll say this is test. Just we will type this is test. Okay, now let's see if this works. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close this browser, and will, if it is not able to identify, then we will get an exception. We'll also try to understand what the exception is. Okay, so first it is going to Ministry of Automation. Now it is coming back to Amazon.com, and we have already got an exception. What is that? Let's read the exception. No such element found, right? No such element, unable to locate that element. So which means that particular element, whatever we are trying to find using .id, it is saying no, I am not able to find that using the id. Okay, so now which means, yeah, which means this didn't work, correct? This didn't work, so we'll have to find some other attribute. So let's say what we're gonna do. So let's assume that it also has class. No, sorry. It also okay, so you see it also has a class value, right? Nav search bar. So let's see if this works. For time being, what I'll do, I'll copy this, and we know that this is not working, so I'll comment this, and I will try another locator, driver dot find element by dot what is another class name, right? So here you can see class name. So let's try that class name, and then here I'll pass the class name which I copied, right?
So does it normally, you only usually identify from this one thing, like ID or class name, or sometimes you can add more than one to the
No, you have to give only one at a time. Of course, you can use that using org. Yes, you can also give a different locator mechanism using OR condition. We will learn them, in future. In upcoming classes, we're definitely gonna learn them. But as of now, let's try that. Okay, ID didn't work, because in an actual production or when you will actually start scripting, this is how you'll get errors. Okay, you may try with one particular technique and then that will not work. You will get exception. No such element found. Sometime it will work, but it will not work intended. What I mean to say, whatever ID you are giving, maybe that ID is available on a page, but it will not enter the information in the area you are interested into. It will enter in some other text box, which because by default what happens, WebDriver locates a first matching element with whatever technique you are using, and it will try to perform action on that particular element. Okay, so if you are using an ID locator, right, and if there are 10 different elements with the same ID, so WebDriver, whatever the first element it finds with that ID, it will try to perform action on that first element. Exactly, because it doesn't understand that, right? Are you interested in third one or fourth one? That we will write using XPaths or CSS selectors. We're gonna learn that in an upcoming session. But yes, by default, the WebDriver searches the entire HTML page, whatever the first element it will encounter based on the locator mechanism you are using, either ID or class name or whatever it is, it will try to perform action on it. Okay, so let's try now class name now, whether this works. If this is also not working, then which means both of the locator techniques are not sufficient for us, right? So we'll have to use something else. Let's see. Okay, so this is also not working. So if you see, this will also give a similar exception. Now if you see, this is also okay. This is a different exception now. Now this class by whatever exception we are, whatever the locator mechanism we are using, it is giving element not interactable, which means what I think it found somewhere. Okay, with that class it found some element, but it is not interactable, which means that dot send keys, right, that is creating a problem. Are you understanding based on the exception you are receiving, at what stage it must be receiving? So let's say if I don't want to do a send keys, right? So if I just do like this, for example, just for a time being, I'll say, okay, just find it, right? Just find this particular element. And now if I run this test, now I'll not get any exception, hopefully, because now I'm not trying to interact with that element. I'm just trying to find it. So the based on the type of exception you are getting in a console, you have to understand at what level of code is working, or at what level of code is not working.
Oh, look on the sign in.
So now it is still loading. Okay, so for me there is no exception, right? It's pretty clean because
Yeah,
I didn't try that dot send
so
keys.
I feel like, yeah, did you click on the sign in page? You didn't.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't do any send keys because this is what was throwing me an error. Now I'll tell you why the exception was, because this particular text box and maybe the sign in button all has the same class name, so
Yeah.
let me show you. If you go to browser tools, you can also drag this and put it in the bottom, this complete console.
Yeah.
Why this is not yeah, like this is better. Now if I highlight, I think sign in, this will also see this class name. I think they both are same, right? No, sorry, there must be some other element with the same class name. And what's happening in the background is, when I'm running dot send keys, it is identifying an element, but that element, the first element which it is identifying based on this class name, it is not able to perform this action of dot send keys because it says element not interact, what is that, actionable, right? No action can be performed on that element like a send keys. It may be dot click operation, right?
Yeah.
It may able to perform dot click operation. Let's try that. If it is not able to perform dot send keys, so what happens if I try to do a dot click? So let's say dot click, let me uncomment this, and then what we will do, dot click, and then let's see whether this works. So, and then I will also use driver dot close. No, let's not close it. Let's see what happens. Dot click and then run this. So probably it is able to find an element which is not able to accept an input, but maybe the click operation work, right? So, and that is why we may not get the exception what we were getting it earlier. Let's see that. See, probably it may able to do something click.
I think it's click on the sign in. You see the sign in drop down?
Yeah, looks like it has done something. That's why we didn't get any exception and execution is done, right? So with this, you need to understand how the locator mechanisms are working, right? We will still see more examples for ID and class name tomorrow, and also we will see some more examples for other locator techniques. So basically you have all these 8 locator techniques to learn. Okay. Yeah, so let's see it tomorrow. Okay, see you. Bye bye.